All right, Dr. Brett here. I'm going to talk to you guys about headaches today. We get a ton of questions on it. We see a lot of patients with headaches. And there's some commonalities we've seen over a period of time that we can really break these down into certain groups, basically, like what are they caused by? That's where we want to start here. So really headaches, a real simple thing is like dehydration, especially this time of year in the summer. If you're not drinking a lot of water, that fluid that is required to keep normal brain function as well as to protect it and things like that starts to decrease. That blood flow level starts to change, therefore they can cause headaches over the course of time. It's an easy solution. Drink more water, consume less caffeine and alcohol and things along those lines, especially when it's warm out. So that's one thing on there. Then you get into hormonal stuff, which women experience just a little bit more, like during menstrual cycles and things like that. Headaches become more common because the stress that comes from the hormonal changes starts to affect the chemistry in the brain, which triggers the headaches over the course of time, which again is typically like a blood flow, vascular related type of deal. Then you get into functional type of stuff where certain things you're doing, like postural stuff, like long positions in a chair, looking at a computer screen in a funky way over the course of time. Repetitive movements over the course of time too, constantly looking a certain way. Then we get into purely structural things, and that's what we're going to get into a little bit more as chiropractors, like how do you relieve structural problems that ultimately come from all of these things as well too. The stress from hormonal changes, the stress from postural things, they all end up creating structural deficiencies in the spine that create headaches that kind of get triggered from there. So that's pretty simple. The other thing we're going to kind of go into as well too is what can you do at home? And we like to break this down into some really simple things on there. And one thing is to really pay attention to dietary stuff. If your dietary stuff is consistent, in other words, you're not having large fluctuations like during the week you eat healthy and then the weekend you just fall off the dang wagon at that point, like that's a stressor on your body which triggers these headaches to happen in people. Same thing with the hydration thing, like the consistency of that over a period of time on there. Another thing that is really basic and very simple but people just don't follow it is sleep patterns. Like the more consistent your sleep patterns are, the less stress you put on the nervous system, the less stress you put on the brain, the less likelihood to have headaches over the course of time on there. So I'm going to show you a couple things on here too, like some physical things that you can do. One thing we call is like molding. A lot of like structural issues that affect the upper neck up here, which trigger the headaches, are due to postural things when your head is extended forward or your head's down for long periods of time. Ultimately what happens, we lose the normal curve. A normal curve looks like a backward C right here. What ends up happening is we start getting this forward C that puts a lot of strain on that upper neck up there. So one thing we talk about is molding. Take a towel, roll that towel up about as big as like a softball even, and I'm just going to put it back underneath my neck here and let my head extend back through here. So I'm just getting some extension. The other thing you can do with that is edge of your bed, let your head fall back. This is a really effective way to do this. If the blood rush doesn't bother you, stay here for 2 minutes, 3 minutes period of time. But the weight of your head helps traction it out as well too. It's a simple thing to be able to do to relieve some of that neck tension. What I like to do with that too is when I'm doing that molding, put an ice pack over the top to get a little bit of that inflammation relief while you're doing the molding as well too. Another easy trick we've kind of discovered over the course of time is just basic traction that you can do. Take a t-shirt, towel, whatever, put it behind your head here. I put my elbows on the table. And all I'm doing is sitting my weight back on my haunches, and I'm using the leverage I just create here with my elbows here to pull. And what it does, it just helps traction that neck out a little bit and decompress the upper part of your neck through there. So that's pretty simple on there. The last thing I want to talk about is like, ultimately, how does chiropractic help with headaches? Because a lot of times you can do all these different things. You can affect the ergonomics at your office. You can affect your dietary changes. You can try to minimize your hormone fluctuations and this and that, but life is life and things happen over a course of time. You have traumas when you're a kid. You got postural problems that you've had since you were 18 years old or whatever might be the case, or you sleep on your stomach or whatever, that creates issues up here. If you've got what we call subluxations, in other words, your spine gets stuck and doesn't function properly up here, your nervous system gets stressed from it, it triggers headaches that happen over a course of time. When that happens, the easiest, most efficient way to do that is, from a chiropractic standpoint, is to release that stuck, that fixated area and create movement back in there, and then teach you with some of these other things on how to keep it that way. And that's what we really go through with people, is to figure out, okay, where are these issues at, and what are they coming from, and then how do we resolve them in as quick as possible, for lack of a better way to describe it on there, and then give you some things to do that you can help to keep them from coming back at home. And we'll put some things out there as well too, some testimonials from people that, again, some people had headaches for years in some cases, and within a week even, the headaches are gone pretty much consistently over a period of time, especially if they're doing some of the other things at home to help themselves out on there. So headaches don't have to be a normal thing for you. They're a common thing for a lot of people. They're not normal over a course of time. And the other thing is that the solutions for them don't have to be shots, don't have to be pills, don't have to be some magic potion or lotion type of deal, but something as simple as a chiropractic adjustment with a proper evaluation ahead of time can solve these things really quick on there. So hopefully you guys learned something from that. If you got questions, reach out to us. If you're a person with headaches, schedule a consultation. We don't even charge for these consultations. Come in, sit down with us. We're going to find out if it's something we can help you with. Thanks.